Good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I have gone live a little bit earlier than usual, just for those who complain when I go live late. I thought I'd be here a little bit earlier. You can complain about that as well, because the English like a bit of a complaint. Before I do anything else, give me a 5B5 in the chat to tell me if you can see and hear me, which would be helpful. England, Tracy, Deanne is out there. Hello, Deanne. Luke, 1956. I did put a message in there. Where you been? Hey, Jim, where you been, son? Jules Ann, Greenbaker, Luke, 1956. Tracy Truism, Wilnut, Jules Ann, 67. Did I already say that? Jason, 6090. Hello, our American friend. Good evening. Let's have a look and see who else is out there. I'm getting a 5B5, so it's obviously you can see and hear me. The one I did the other night with reference to the rape and torture inquiry report has been stopped on YouTube. It's had a strike against it because I played a section where Sammy was discussing the fact that I think it was ITV News or whoever it was had asked her not to discuss the ethnicity or religion of the perpetrators that were named, which was all in the report, basically, and carry on with the mainstream censorship. And obviously she refused. But that part has been edited out. In other words, when I say edited out, they give the whole thing a strike and then just put it on C. So just letting you know, I don't like YouTube at all. They will use any way. I don't know who's put that copyright strike on there. Could be ITV. I haven't looked at it. I don't spend any time really on YouTube. It is probably the most worst platform out there. That said, before I go into what the actual show's about, I did mention the other night this book, right? Suicide Empathy, Free the Wolves, Dying to Be Kind, Gad Sad, right? I've got to be honest with you. I've been reading parts of this, obviously, but there's so many bits in this book that are so bang on the money. If you read the book, you understand that it is this wokeness is a massive mind virus, and it's spelt out in here. And the like I say, it is a really great book. So all I'm doing, and there are bits I can read out here. I'll tell you what, there was a fascinating part. This is just part of, and I actually read this out earlier on to Janet, right? There's a part in here that fascinated me, and it was in reference to nature, right? And where even in nature, don't forget, technically we're like animals, but just we've got a conscience. This is all about psychopaths, really. And someone else that was really great. There's a reference to Richard Kuklinski, right? Otherwise known as the Iceman. And like I said I had to explain this comment. He's one of my favourite characters. Why is that? Because I find him fascinating. He's a psychopath. He was they called him the Iceman because he was a hitman in America. But what fascinated me was the fact that he was a psychopath, and the way psychopaths have no conscience whatsoever, right? And the subject of torture was brought up, and a psychologist said to him, have you ever, did you ever torture animals when you was a kid? And he went, yeah, like as if it was nothing. So the bloke said, well, you know, what did you feel? And he went, what do you mean? What did I feel? That, even asking the question, what do you feel, to a psychopath, the psychopaths don't have any emotional empathy or feeling towards their victim, whether you be a human or an animal. They're just fascinated by your pain. And one of the things that they're fascinated about is using your empathy against you, right? So there was a particular, another killer that in America, and I'll think of his name in a couple of minutes. He Ted Bundy, and he used women's empathy against them. So on one occasion, he had a van door open, and he put he made out his arm was in a casting thing, and he couldn't. You know, he was trying to open the door, and he was trying to get this stuff, and the woman's come along and seen him struggling. So her empathy kicked in to assist him. She's gone back to the van door, and because the door's open, and he's got her in there, right? So he used her empathy against her, then raped and killed her, or whatever he did with her. I don't know what the full story of that is, but there's a whole point. This book spells it all out to you, and it is a psychologist who wrote this book. But I just want to explain this to people because I think it's important. And there's some things I'll go through tonight before we kick into the show. But on this particular element, basis for deception and violence, incidentally, humans are not the sole species to be lured into dangerous situations via an appeal to their empathy. When protecting an injured member of their pod, sperm whales adopt a defensive Makerfield formation, which makes it easier for the whale hunters to kill off the entire pod. The whale's empathy is used against them. And then if you go in, it's got a little number there. You go into the back of the book, and it tells you where that comes from and who said it and who witnessed it, right? So it's all, the good thing about the book is it is all evidence based, and they go through it. So I just want to make sure. I mean, I've waited 6 months for this book. It is the hardback to come through, and it makes fascinating reading. Anyone that is empathetic, I think the right word is, right? In other words, you do care about other people. You're not a psychopath, not a narcissist, not a sadist, not a Machiavellian. So you've all heard me talk about dark personality before. Now, part of the problem we've got in our politics at the moment is the people that are in the civil service, in positions of authority, judges, etc., they all, and MPs and lords, all elevate not only themselves, but they recognise the traits in each other to positions of authority. They're only 10% of the population, but they are completely and utterly devoid of empathy towards us. That's why, do you all remember, I haven't started to show you yet, but do you remember on Twitter, and if you want me to show you it, I'll show you it, there is, I believe, a Jewish lady, young Jewish lady, that all the people on the inquiry team for Rupert Lowe said, we do not want her anywhere near this inquiry, right? And they had a very good judge of character. And then she's on Twitter laughing about the report. I mean, literally cackling like a witch. Sorry, Janet. Literally cackling like a witch, right? And she's now received an almighty backlash on Twitter. She's sending out tweets now apologising, right? But people are really latching in to what she did. I mean, she literally laughed at the 250,000 victims, and there's more than that, My reference to that and my reference to this book is you can see these people, right? And I believe that many of the people involved with Restore Britain are, I hope, very careful about the people they're bringing in to the inner circle. And again, there's a whole story about Rupert Lowe, which I think is fantastic. The fact that his family built a very big and successful mechanical and electrical engineering company. They're quite large main contractors. They do a lot of stuff for the government, obviously, but they've also got a royal charter. They're proud of that, but they employ people. But anything to do with any form of engineering, you've got to have an engineering brain, and that means he's associated people that think properly. They have got real cognitive ability, and he has grown up with them types of people. A bit like me with my dad. He couldn't read or write, but engineering wise, he was superb. Like he could make and do anything in that factory. He could use every piece of machinery in that. A bit like John Godley Harding, who, by the way, last night I forgot to say, don't forget, but you don't have to. I'm just going to make sure everyone understands this. So just to make sure that last book. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to bring this up on the screen. Don't forget, sharing is caring. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're on YouTube, come across, and when you watch this and see this and hear this, come across to Rumble. Search for The Full English Show. It's the Daddy Dragon channel. It will just come straight up. Come on there and subscribe to the channel. Because they can't take us down on this channel. It's virtually impossible. And that's why I do trust it. As long as, obviously, I can keep my rants to a minimum. But what I'm going to do now is show you this. Hopefully. It's not come up. Oh, right. Sorry. There it is. I'm hoping to pull this on your screen. For some strange reason. Stop sharing. It's come up on the screen, right? So today, I've had a number of people contact me. We have got quite a few members in that constituency and around that area who are very English. What I'm saying is they're English only, not British. And that one of them today has sent me this earlier on today. And the person went out and voted for Rebecca Lee Shepherd. And again, Rebecca is in the Wigan constituency, Restore Britain. And they took their own indelible ink pen and put a proper mark in the box. So it is a full registered vote, right? So from what I'm being told, and there's a few of our people in the campaigning groups and assistant groups, etc., that they're all positive people. The very negative people out there are, one, the Labour Party, who are just acting like animals. And there was something else that happened today with a Labour Party councillor has pleaded guilty to interfering with an election. I believe he's going to be sentenced in 2029, believe it or not, when the trial of the others. But does anyone remember when we stood in Southend? There was a particular Labour Party councillor was writing lots of comments during the campaign on Twitter, making reference to us being racists and creating an agitation group when we was campaigning in Southend. And again, the police was listening to us and what we were saying at an action day where probably 200 or 300 people turned up, and I was grateful for that. My answer, or what happened with this guy, it turns out that the guy who's pleaded guilty to this offence from the Labour Party was a councillor in Southend. Well, it was a councillor in Southend. It was actually a councillor in Southend that was writing them comments on Twitter. And then when I sent him a cease and desist and said what you've done is actually a criminal offence and contacted the police, right? And the police contacted him and said, what you are doing is committing a criminal offence during a campaign, right? Because you're making accusations that Graham Moore, the leader of the English Constitution Party, is a racist. There's nothing to back that up whatsoever, right? In other words, you are slandering him and libeling him during an election campaign, and that becomes a criminal offence. So you've got to be. But what shocked me was this guy, Nick's in another part of the country, is that person, right? So just to make sure everyone's aware of that, these people are ideologically linked to the mind virus, and people need to understand that they are psychopaths, they are narcissistic, they are sadists in the way that they operate. And I'll show that video of that lady if I remember. But the most important thing everyone out there should understand is that these votes are coming into us. And again, I mean, just to show you, I mean, I put that link out about 2 hours ago, maybe 4 hours ago, I can't remember. And it's had 5,400 views already, right? So if anyone else wants to retweet it, make a comment, etc., you're obviously welcome to do that. Not sure if I can click that button and send it up. Copy link. If I put that out for everyone to send it out, so if you're out on Twitter, just send that out. And again, I mean, to a large extent, we're our membership. We're all good people. I really don't understand. I don't want to see Restore Britain turning into a snobby party against the working class, right? Because I think it would defeat all of the objects of what all good people, and it is mainly working class people out there, delivering them leaflets, knocking on doors and trying to assist them. But I'm seeing that a massive amount of people, not only up there helping campaign, and many of them are working class people that have had enough and are coming from all over the country to breach the Labour Party's deceit and red wall, and it is a fraud. And they've got to be very careful at the count. But I can tell you now, the feedback I'm getting is overwhelmingly people are, and it's the only way to do it, is to overwhelm the system. You must vote, right? So anyone listening to this in reference to voting, the King, when handed a law that has been passed by Parliament, right, meaning the members of Parliament and the Lords, cannot abstain. The King can only assent or dissent. And the last time they dissented, as far as I know, it was 1849. But the last one that's sort of everyone's told it was in 1708, which was Queen Anne. But my point to you all is, if the sovereign, in effect, cannot abstain, well, if you believe in your sovereignty, which I do, and the vote was hard fought for, right, especially when 18, 19 of us died at Peterloo, including a baby, we was attacked by the British as the working class because we was demanding the vote. We didn't have the vote then. So the franchise of sovereignty was extended to you, and that is why, if you really believe you are sovereign and a free person, you must vote, right? You haven't got the option of abstention, the same as the king hasn't, and we must enforce that, right? We must say to people, you know, but by not voting, you have created the mess we're in now. So I don't believe Restore Britain are massively attracting the non-voters to come back to voting, and that's exactly what we want, right? And I've just said to Janet that if the turnout is over 60%, so when they, because the first thing they do is count how many ballots there are. If the turnout is over 60%, Restore have won, in my opinion. Right? I'm only giving you, I don't know what it's going to be. If it's 70%, we've got to massively increase the turnout, because then we know it's our voters coming out. None of this split the vote nonsense, right? You've got something to vote for now, and we should be doing it. What we're doing in the background, if a particular area of Restore or a constituency is, in our view, anti-English, which can happen, depending on who the person is running it, then we're still going to say, right, well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're still going to stand against you, right? And whilst they will be happy for that, and we will lose, right? We will cause them a problem, because we'll be knocking on the doors and explaining why it is that we're standing, right? Because what we've always said is we won't stand against them unless we consider they are anti-English. And Rupert Lowe has already stated he is for England and the English, right? So just to make sure everyone's got it. But on your screen, you're already seeing them votes come in. So if you haven't voted yet, get out and vote. Use your own pen, ink, or indelible, whatever it is. Don't just, but literally do exactly that's on your screen at the moment, right? You put a cross in that box for Restore Britain, right? And everyone there should understand. What will be funny tonight is to see how many Green Party candidates, how many votes they get, and secondly, Peter Mark Ward rejoin the EU and bring in PR, right? And does everyone understand that they're already bringing in PR for the regions? And that's because once they bring in PR, they'll always have access to power, which is why you want to keep the first past the post system. They have deliberately pushed you out or demoralised you. So therefore, the first past the post favours them. And then what they've done, because they now know that you're becoming more alive to politics again, they need to change the voting system to proportional representation, which means it will always favour them. That's what's actually going on in the background. So be really careful with what's going on now. So again, if you haven't voted, make sure you use an ink pen. Get out there. What time did the poll shut? 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, the poll shut. And I think everyone out there should understand what's going on. Touch wood. So remember that YouTube banned my video the other day. They put a copyright strike on me for showing Sammy talking to, I think it was ITV, on some morning show, and basically the producer or the editor had said, we don't want you mentioning, bearing in mind she was also a victim, we don't want you mentioning the ethnicity or the religion of the perpetrators. And she basically said, I'm not having that. And then she got on there and did exactly what she was told not to do. So again, that's why. And again, what you're seeing is the censorship in the background from YouTube in particular. They are just as guilty as the perpetrators by not allowing this to be spoken about, and especially the rape and torture inquiry and the report in itself, right, which is evidence that can be used in court. Let me have a look. So the next thing I want to show you, I'm going to come off that for a second, go back to this one. So I want everyone, don't forget to hit the like button, right? It's really important to hit the like button because it does help with us getting this out there. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, right? And the second thing is, or third thing, don't forget to share, right? Because the people, they won't promote us. The only people who can promote us is you, right? And whilst I am a mouthpiece completely for the English and only the English, and not disrespecting the Scots, they've got their mouthpiece, they've got the BBC. The Welsh, they've got the BBC. The Irish got the BBC. All right, they've all got their mouthpiece. The only people who cannot be spoken about are the English. And it now looks like Oxford is trying to ban English flags in particular from going up on lampposts because it intimidates minorities or it goes against diversity, right? There's some other things I put out today, but I want people to understand what that is. Now, something else which is quite serious. You're not going to like this. I am going to show you it. Not very nice at all. Let me put it up on the screen. Did everyone hear about this today? A three-year-old boy is fighting for his life after a stranger threw him into the crocodile enclosure at a family zoo in Oxford. Oh no, in Cambridge, sorry. In a scene straight out of the 80s horror movie, a 3-year-old boy was grabbed by a stranger and thrown into a crocodile enclosure at a popular British zoo, leaving the toddler badly mauled in front of horrified visitors and obviously his family. The shocking incident took place today at about 1:24 p.m. at Johnson's Old Hurst, a family-run farm and zoo near Huntingdon in Cambridgeshire, known for its collection of crocodiles, lions, tigers and other exotic animals. Police were dispatched to the scene after reports that the unimaginable attack. The young boy suffered injuries from both the fall and the reptiles and was rushed to hospital in a critical condition. He remains in a serious but stable condition at Aldenbrook Hospital in Cambridge. Let me have a quick look here. The 30-year-old man from Norfolk was arrested on suspicion of attempted murder shortly afterwards. Detectives have revealed he was not known to the boy or his family, raising the terrifying prospect of a random motiveless assault on a defenceless toddler enjoying a family day out. So I don't know. The reason I'm not going to comment is you don't, but I've heard something like that before. Didn't they? There was with the terrible and evil, horrible murders of the 3 little girls in Southport. Didn't they say a Welsh man from Cardiff has been arrested or worse to them effect? Right. So I don't know if it's the same situation. What I am saying is that type of description, if it was anybody else, in other words, I find it very odd that description has been put up with no further details. So all I'm doing is just making sure that people understand what I'm saying. I'm not suggesting at the moment. I haven't got any other information. He's only from Norfolk if he has 6 fingers on each hand. All right. And I do understand that joke, by the way. Let's have a quick look. Anyone else got any information out there about that? Yeah, no, and it is terrible. But again, if this turns out to be an immigrant, if it turns out that way, I don't know whether it is or it isn't. But again, the level of protection of our youngsters needs to be upgraded by quite a bit. I would suggest it was a foreigner. Well, I mean, just with using that description themselves, they're getting there. Let me just see if I can find this other one for you that I want to do. There's some great stuff I saw last night, by the way. Let's have a quick look and see if there's anything out there. Anyone trying to contact me on there at the moment? I don't think so. Hopefully, people are out there. Let's have a look. Oh, what's going on here? Let's see if there's anything else going out there. Don't think so. We'll see what's going on. Let me put this into... Now, there was another element of today that I want to show people. Who's that? We got some bad... I'm not really happy about that person, but I'm not going to say anything. Let me have a quick look at this. Did everyone notice that there was a massive event in Europe? I think it was yesterday now, where in the European Union Politburo, they voted to basically send back the foreigners, and then they started chanting, "Send them back, send them back, send them back." So something is happening in Europe. What we got to hope is they don't send them out, because we've got serious issues with that. Let me have a look at this one. Disabled veteran beaten by the police. He's been granted bail after refusing to plead guilty to assaulting the police. And again, I've put that information out there. Now, there's a particular thing that I want to put out there. I think I've got to go and find... Oh, this is the one. Did anyone see, and do you want me to go and find it? I've got to go and find out who she is. I've seen this about 50 times today, and I still haven't got it. Let me see if I can pull that up, because it's on the screen. This is the one. Not they're going to like this. I think I showed it the other night. I'm going to show you it. Hopefully, it will come up on the screen. This is, she's made a comment. Donna Rachel, her name is, the dissident councillor. Lots of people suggesting that she's Jewish. But the rape and torture gang inquiry team didn't want her on anything to do with it, and they kept her away from it. But she says county lines are phone lines, not border demarcations. You can't traffic people over them. The rape gang inquiry report is junk, right? That's what she says. But I just want to show you this brief element.
The rape gang inquiry report is out. And I'm going to try not to laugh because it feels mean.
Right, so she basically laughed at 250,000 minimum victims She's mocked the inquiry. She's mocked the people who paid for it. And she has received a massive, massive backlash on Twitter, where she actually sent out another quasi little video, but she blocked people from replying to it. Everyone out there, including me, is calling her an evil witch, right? And I understand by using the term witch, I'm being unfair to witches. But this person is a typical psychopath, narcissistic, sadist, Machiavellian type, right? Mocking the inquiry team completely and mocking the victims, right? Just to let you know, she has received a massive, massive backlash. And she doesn't care, by the way. I imagine the only reason she stopped the comments, a bit like Sadiq Khan, is because she's just being brutalised on there. I mean, literally, she is one nasty bit of work. She's also as ugly as sin. But that's pretty standard for someone who, I mean, so viciously nasty as her. But if I was to show you the rest of it, she's literally getting annihilated out there. Again, there's different people. Let me see if I can bring up my latest. I'll probably have to go to my profile to pick that up. Pinned. That ceremony is nice. So again, on there tonight, I'm going to put this out there. See if you can send this out. Copy link. Get it retweeted again. And we'll go back to the other part of it. Let me have a look and see if I can bring this up on your screen so everyone can see it. I've put this out there and I've pinned it for everyone to have a look. Let's have a look and see who's out there in a moment. Ace Jace, she is an absolute nutcase. The woman is completely insane. I believe that I started off talking about this book, right? Suicidal Empathy. And I'm going to take some of my little things in there so I remember to take them up to bed with me. And I'll sit there reading the book in bed and then read little bits out to Janet. And Janet's like, what? It's a great book, I tell you. You do need to read it. But all I'm doing is giving you... I've waited 6 months for that book to come forward. So I'm going to show you again this. So pinned, an English Constitution Society member just sent me their vote in Makerfield, one of many. Vote Restore, and I've sent that to Rupert Lowe, Restore Britain, and Maria Botel. And there it is. You can see the actual mark there. So they voted for Restore Britain. Rebecca Lee Shepherd. And it has received 5,676 views since 4 o'clock. So what's that? 4 hours? Just over? Oh, no, bearing in mind that our account on there, remember the last one was taken down, the one before that was taken down. I would, if they hadn't taken all my accounts down, bearing in mind I originally had an account from 2012, I had one account that was well in excess of 15,000. I had another account that was well in excess of, I think it was 9,000 when they took it down. And then you've got this count. I would probably be in over 100,000 and with an original account. But they took them down. So so don't forget, follow me on Twitter. It's going to be really helpful. Because the more people follow me on the Twitter and the more you're sending this stuff out, and tick the little buttons so you get notifications from me on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube, but most importantly, follow us on Rumble. Well, it's really important. And it's important that we get that out to people. I mean, copy the tweet, send it to other accounts on Restore, so they can push that out there. People can see it. They've still got another, what's that, hour and a half?
What's for voting?
Yeah, another hour and a half for voting.
But
so get out there and vote. And there it is. So I'm going to bring it up on the screen again. Yes, again, there it is.
Also, as well, Graham, if you've joined a queue and the clock hits 10, if you're already on that queue, they have to let you still do your vote, even if the clock passes 10.
I'll tell you what. You're getting good at this, aren't you?
Yeah.
Cool, blimey. So what Janet said is, and you must remember this, if you're in the queue to vote outside a polling station and it must be said at, I don't know, say if you're in the queue at 1 minute to 10, they're not allowed to shut until, so they'll go, so at 10 o'clock they'll go to the end of the queue, put a thing there and say that's it, but they have to let all of you still in to vote, right? So you can, and this all goes back to Ashby versus White, and I can show you the history of that in the old law books that I've got here, just to make sure you know it. So, spooky babbers in Rumble. That's what I like to hear. They're all coming up there. Someone has just sent me a message. Where's that come forward from? I'll have to shut that off. Hang on. Let me get across. Oh, I've lost me. Oh, yeah. Let me mute tab. Otherwise you'll get pings coming through. Well, I'm looking at any questions coming forward. But again, I don't know how long. Again, if the turnout is 60% or higher of the total electorate, I would suspect Restore has won, right? And the kicker here is gonna be keep your eyes on the turnout figure, because if they haven't won, I would highly suspect skullduggery within the bundles themselves, because they can't really cheat with the turnout figure unless they remove ballots and dump ballots, right? Which could happen, which is one of the reasons why I believe there's another process we should use at the polling stations. Let me have a look. Any questions coming in? Don't forget to put the questions into the Full English Moderators channel, and I'll read it off of there, because I won't be able to read this off. It goes too quick. So DD, that image of ballot paper could be put through the cameras they use for betting slips before being placed in a ballot box. Then the film could be counted separately. Yeah, exactly that. Who just said that? I used to own a betting shop, so I don't understand what them cameras are. Let me tell you something. It's one of the reasons I'm quite shocked, if I'm honest, considering my experience and experience not just of the law, but experience in work and in businesses and running your own business. And especially to do with betting shops. In other words, not just managing a betting shop, but owning it. Them camera systems, it is simple to stop fraud. I mean, you won't stop all fraud, right? But because they'll always find a way. It's human nature. But you'll normally trip them up with some form of way of doing it. So when you go, I don't know if you know, if you go into a betting shop, or the old style betting shops, you put a betting slip over, they'll check it. If they've took the bet, they take the bet, that's your contract, and then they put it on a camera. One of the reasons they put it on a camera, believe it or not, is so the government can then get their whack out of the tax, right? So it's a way of recording it all. It's also used for security. So the machine date and time stamps when it took the photo. So any like if you got in there at 8:30, your ballot would be recorded as today at 8:30, and it will give you the time and a second when the image was taken. But you could also use software now when it will go through and AI would count them. I'm not suggesting you rely on AI, but it could count, and it would tell you which ones who had won it. And then you would do a proper manual count with people, but you would stop cheating like that. I'm not talking about the Dominion systems that they've got in place now. I'm talking in a completely different system, right? I mean, I could design that system. Cameras, very good. Whoever put that in, Rebecca Hicks, Betty Hicks. That was very good one. Cowboy Dud, Graham, do you have anything to do or know much about Simon Tomlin, otherwise known as Daily Agenda? He is a complete and utter see you next Tuesday. He has been previously arrested for online harassment and sent to prison for it, right? So if you want to do a search on that name that you've just put in there, I'm not getting involved with if he was to do with a BNP. He only bit of me. He's a nasty bit of work. I know exactly where he lives, who he is. He is a complete and utter see you next Tuesday, right? He has been sent to prison previously, and it was stated by the court. I think he got 6 months. He actually went to prison. He served 3 months of a 6-month sentence, and he behaved himself for a little while. But they actually said he was a particularly nasty internet troll. So he actually done bird. He went to prison, in other words. Pretty nasty bit of work. And again, he's one of them people, gives it all that. If you're standing in front of him, he's a nasty, never really done anything. What I mean by that is he's just a bitter, nasty, horrible bit of work. And it's typical of BNP, to be honest with you. It's why I've never been involved with a BNP, by the way. Cameras are used for being shop. You know that. Did that answer your question, by the way? Who's this one? Tracy. Are the counters vetted and who by? Oh, spooky bummer. This all come out during our election petition trial in Chester. Because the question was put, who are these people? Are they all known to the council? And the acting returning officer said no. They come in from all different areas, Liverpool, St Helens, right? And basically, they're trained by common purpose, and they're trained in the fraud or the illusion. They're trained how to do this fraud. And that's what we was putting across. Well, we told the courts that. They did it before. They've been caught doing it before, by the way, in Doncaster in 2009. I may get Robin Tilbrook on to explain that or explain a few things, because he is fully aware of it, because it happened to the English Democrats. And in that case, the returning officer asked for a full individual ballot. And what they'd found was they had taken... the Labour Party had taken 5,000 so they didn't touch the English Democrats' ballots. They took 5,000 ballots of the BNP to make it look like they had no one was voting for them. But they took their ballots they put a Labour one on the top and a Labour one on the bottom, and then put the pile in the Labour pile. So to all intents and purposes, in a bundle count, no one could see it. But if you did an individual, and what the returning officers demanded, he said, no, we're going to do an individual, every ballot should, because once you do that, they can't never get that. That's dangerous to them. The fraud is discovered by an individual ballot recount, because they can never recreate what they've just done, right? They can't do it. And basically, they took 5,000. So that means 5,000 individual people had their electoral right for their ballot to be counted against the candidate they voted for, right? To be counted. That's their electoral right. And it is also the democratic will of the people, right? So to show the direction of the electorate, which it would have done clearly. And then when they redid it, it turned out that the English Democrats had won, because the ballot that had been lowered on Labour, and then the English Democrats had actually won. This fraud has been going on for decades. I mean, literally decades. And they've got away with it because the way the system works again, they're about to bankrupt me. Because if you so it's no right at all if you haven't got a remedy. And if you're going to be bankrupted, bringing it to judges' attention, which we did, and then they swapped out the judges. So it was a bad thing. Did you understand what I just said then? So that was to, who was that to? Spooky Bubba. Who's that? Graham Cowboy. Just don't, I don't know who that is. Why does that say that on there? I don't know who or what that message is. Don't forget I'm reading out messages here. Don't put anything you don't want me to read out. Rebecca Hicks, English Constitution Party. Question. As I am not working at the moment, is there any way I could help with reading research for education or assisting you and your team? Yes, you answered my previous question. All right. Probably is the answer. We always need assistance. We always need assistance in many ways. Let me have a quick look. Any other questions? Right. That's Pierce. Darren Pierce, I believe that is. Interesting point you make about the BNP, and accurate. To what extent do you think they were a honey trap for willing idiots? A honey trap for willing idiots. I don't know what you mean by that. When you say a honey trap, you mean people just flooding in and they was doing... There are elements of this. There was a guy called Andrew Pierce. I think his name was Pierce. I'll have to go back through my memory or my notes again. Let's see if I've got it written down with my notes. I'm sure I have somewhere. Let me see if I can find his name in here. And there's some people I don't actually. There's some people. Let's have a look. I'll find his name. I'm going to ask another question in a minute. Ouch. Ooh. I bet you any money you like. It'll probably be on another bit of paper somewhere. It is important that I pick this up though. Where is it? Sorry, that one. Hang on. I'll be with you in about 10 seconds. I'm sure I'll find his name in there somewhere. Nope. Only got his Andrew something his name was. I'm sure it was Pierce. May not have been. The point being, though, I had a conversation with someone else about him. He walked away from the BNP, and he also walked away from the National Front. And he created a movement called the Constitutional Movement, right? Which I again, in other words, what he understood in the end was the Constitution was the solution, and you had to get the Constitution enforced, and various elements. I want to take you back to another point in a couple of seconds. Why I'm saying that about him? Do you remember the guy Tony Martin, who allegedly shot the travellers when they broke into his farm? Well, it turns out that this Andrew Pierce or Pearson or whatever his name was, the one who was one of the heads of the British National Party and the National Front, Tony Martin was his nephew. Just so you know. Right, I think I've brought it out before. I've spoke about it before. Right, I just think that's too much of a coincidence. Right, and I do believe that Tony Martin was actually set up. I think it was a big load of bollocks. I'm watching via Rumble tonight. Wanted to pop in and send my love. I'm back in England today. Oh, well done. Being back in England. Don't cause any trouble. Should have set up man traps like straw dogs. Let's have a look. So you all understand what I'm saying? MI6, MI5, security services, the system, a bit like Lucy Letby. She never did. Listen, Lucy Letby has done nothing wrong. Nothing. But when the system hates you, it will put you away, and it will put you away and cause you a lot of problems. Just to make sure you realise that. Is there anything I could help with reading? Interesting point about the BNP inaccurate. Let me know, was there a great Second Amendment right? What's this one? Let Graham know there was a great Second Amendment right to arms victory in the Supreme Court, saying you can't disarm people for non-violent drug incidents. Tell me what that one was. I'll see if I can search for it. When was it? Was it recent? Tell me when it was. So technically, in England, you can only be disarmed. You can only be disarmed by law, right? If meaning shotgun or so you cannot make an application. You completely can't have one, right? If you serve a sentence of over 3 years in prison, right? But if after, I don't know, 5-10 years, you've done nothing wrong and you've stayed out of trouble and all that, because it is an actual right, you can go back to a Crown Court judge, not the same judge that heard your case, right? An independent judge, and you can put to that judge under the Firearms Act that you're now of good character, right? And they will rescind that part of your sentence, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? So what Jason is saying out there, it used to be that they couldn't restrict it in any way whatsoever, and I believe that is true, right? Listen, I know people. If you had I think one of the reasons I think the way I do is because I understand the mindset of our ancestors, right? And the answer to that is if you use your firearm or any weapon in an unlawful way, you will suffer the consequence of the full weight of the law. If you kill someone and it is murder, and it was decided it is murder by a jury, right, you will hang. So with a right comes responsibility. That's why in America, and Jason's out there, he'll probably tell us a bit more about it, but you very rarely get people in bars absolutely lagging drunk that are carrying a gun, right? And the laws on alcohol in America are a lot stricter. For example, if you are a bartender in America and you keep plying someone with alcohol and they go out of your establishment, get in their motor vehicle and run some over, you are equally as responsible as the driver, right? Again, there's some things that they do a lot stricter because what they're saying is everyone's got responsibility, and that's how it used to be in England. Everyone has that responsibility. Let me have a quick look. No, I'd be interested in that though. So Jason would have to try and send that, or tell me what the case was called and when it was, by the way, because you're not allowed. We're reversing a lot of anti-gun laws from the 20th. Good. That's what you should be doing. And so should we, right? There's nothing wrong with firearms. There's a book here. Everyone should read it. Right, I've got two. There's another book here that people should read as well. Where's it gone? It's on my shelf somewhere. Plus the trigger foot, pull the figure. Plus the trigger. Right, so there's that book, which is a great book. More Guns, Less Crime. The guy that wrote this book was a massive lefty, right? And he wrote and he started reading the book because he wanted to prove that you had to ban firearms to get crime levels down. What he proved, without a doubt, the more guns there was in society, it actually lowered crime immediately, right? That's the first thing. And there's another book here called that's Does the Trigger Pull the Finger? Right? And again, it goes through all the firearm stuff, and we've got to go through a lot of this information, start writing it down. There's some other bits and pieces going on in the background, which I won't go into at the moment. But we need to start challenging these people because they're not. There you go. Someone's just sent me a picture of their ones. Well done. Let's have a look. Animal DD. Let's have a look. You make the accurate violent drugs ancient animal. Annie. DD. What kind of accessible beginners English law education course content would you like to see for adults to attend as soon as it is possible? What type? Constitutional law, the basics of what your rights are, and going through all of that. I would say at a standard level, it would mirror the 5 elements of the Hamlin lectures. And again, even if you went through, it's just got to be basic so people understand that you have an absolute right to freedom of assembly for lawful reasons, and a lawful reason is to protest. So there's lots of things. Again, a guy. Did you all know? What, you know that guy who got absolutely mullered in Southampton? You know when they was doing him with the shields in the back of his neck, and he was a veteran and smashed him up. He and again, look at the difference between Lucy Colony and others, right? Peter Lynch and others, right? As a veteran, the old Bill's nicked him. They've now tried to nick him for assaulting a police officer or assaulting an emergency worker. It's disgusting, right? he's just been released from custody. So what he did, there's a term for this, he took a 2-week lay down, right? That's the way I would describe it. In other words, keep your mouth shut, no comment, don't speak to them. They're going to remand you in custody, right? Get over the fear of being in prison, right? They put you in a thing, they'll take you to the magistrates, they remand you into custody, they'll take you into the prison system, right? They'll give you, another set of clothes in, or they won't. If you're a remand prisoner, you can wear your own clothes in prison. But the point is, he kept his mouth. He still did not. I'm not saying anything. So no comment. He's then gone not guilty, right? In a court. I think he didn't have a solicitor or a barrister. As far as to my knowledge, he went, no, I'm not having that. I'm not having one of your standard pricks fucking tell me to do this, that, and the other. Fuck off, right? That's a polite way of saying it. So he went not guilty. He's gone not guilty. He's been remanded into custody. He's asked for a jury trial, because it's an indictable offence as well, so it's going to the Crown Court. The 2-week laydown is that after a 2-week period, you can then make an application to a Crown Court judge and then show them some of the evidence, say, yeah, he ain't done nothing, you should release him. I don't know if it went to the High Court or the first Crown Court judge, but if the Crown Court judge says no, right, and this is a proper criminal common law trial judge that listens to not magistrates, listens to the bail application, looks at the evidence and says, oh, hold up a minute, this guy is not a threat to the public, blah, 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 and might even ask for a surety, right, of 10 grand. All right, and then but the basis of this story is after 2 weeks he's got bail, so he's out on bail. I don't know what his bail conditions are. I know that he's out on bail. Now, if it was stringent bail conditions, you can then apply to the judge and say there's no reason for this, right? Because he's done nothing unlawful, and they could just give him unconditional bail. Now the police have got a problem because he's not sweating in the nick. Right, he's going to get now. He can sue if they drop this case against him. He can sue them. If it goes to court and he gets a not guilty, he can sue them. Right, but he has to go for the individual officers, not just the chief constable. Exactly what Charlie Staples has done. Right, and unless you're going to enforce your own rights, you think the state ain't going to do it for you, right? You have to know what your rights are, and that's why I would start by explaining to people, listen, we are under occupation, and unless you start understanding that the only thing that's going to get you out of trouble is the Constitution, the English Constitution that our ancestors put in place for us, right? Because these barristers and solicitors are all on the side of the state. They're getting their corner from the state, right? They're process masters. That's all they are. And that's what I will try and get over and teach people. Hopefully that was a long-winded answer to that question, but I am quite passionate about it. There's too many people getting banged up. Lucy Letby should never be in prison. She's a whistleblower, right? The judge was crooked, the defence was crooked, and the prosecutor was crooked. And they presented crooked evidence selective evidence to the jury. That's why that's gone pear-shaped. That woman should not be in prison, right? It's the state that have put her in prison, and the state is absolutely panicking. It's disgusting that she's still there. And why working people are not bringing this up in that parliament, I don't know. It's actually beginning. It's right today. 9-0 ruling. It was today. Oh, and it was a 9-0 ruling. I'll have to have a look for that one. I'd like to come on and chat with Graham any time. It happens. Thing is, if you give me your email address, I'll pull you up on the screen. you can't really give me your email address in that chat because it means everyone will have access to your email address. If you've got Tracy's email, email Tracy now and I'll pull you in. What's the time? 9 o'clock. We need an app. So, has Graham been interviewed by Sonia Poulton? Yeah, quite a few times. I've been on Sonia. I like Sonia. She's a bit of a lefty, but I don't just. There's a lot of things. The strangest possible thing about a constitutionalist is I don't believe in left and right politics. So some of the things Sonia says to me, I'd be like, yeah, no, I agree with you entirely. And then some of the other things that she would say, so, no, I don't agree with that. But there's certain things that she would agree with me on, like, hanging paedophiles or even castrating them, especially if they're politicians. Jason, I'd like to come on and chat with Graham anytime it happens. It happened today. Let's see if I can bring that up. Let's have a look. We, the English, are in the authority of our nation. We are indeed. Jason, I don't have Tracy's email. I'm trying to think of a way you could send me your email address then. I'll tell you what, I'll put my email address now in there. Don't forget to put at English Constitution Party.com. Now, send me your email address, and then what I'll do is send you the link back to that. Let me see if I can grab this one, copy invite. But the only problem I've got is if this goes off, so I might have to reset it myself before I bring you in. Fuck the British, the English are the authority. Well said. If you send, so Jason, if you send me a message, and we'll put you on. Hang on a minute, Jason is emailing me. Let me have a look and see if he's come up here. Let's see. What one's that one? That's my proton mail one. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I'll spin this again and see if it works. So if Jason sends his email address, I'll be able to do it. I emailed Sonia to whistleblow. She ignored me completely. She gets a lot of emails, Sonia. Sonia Poulton is a great journalist. But a lefty twat sometimes. Yeah, no, she is. I like her though, don't get me wrong. Some lefties you can talk to and have a decent conversation with. Some are just nutters. She's not a nutter. She's just got a different opinion about some things, which I accept. I'm not completely, like I say, I'm a constitutionalist. There's certain things. So an extreme right winger. I mean, when I say extreme right wing, I'm talking about ethno-nationalists that would want to kick everyone out of the country immediately. Anyone who is black, brown, or even a mix of the two, they'd say, no, a lot of you are gone. We want a white-only England, right? Whereas what I'm saying is, where do you stop with that? That's the first thing, because you have to have sensible nationalism, which is what constitutionalism is. Constitutionalism, it comes from our ancestry, so we learn from our mistakes, and all these things have happened in the past. So what I'm saying is, if you enforced the Constitution and you restored the English Constitution, all of the foreigners that are in position of powers would be immediately removed, right? What does that mean? That starts to mean that your legal system starts to return not to complete normalcy, but very, very similar. And then you elect who should be elected into positions. If you went to the High Court tomorrow and started to try and put a case in, you will be shocked, one, at how bad these people are in their processes, and two, how many are wearing hijabs, right? Almost the entire processing departments of the Royal Courts of Justice are foreign, right? And you wonder why you got problems. I want to speak to Rupert Lowe. Well, I ain't got his phone number. Spooky Bummer Tourism done. What are we doing now? Let me have a look. I remember Sonia Polton when she was on Radio 5 for a brief period. Slipped through the cracks for 5 minutes, it was noticed. Let me have a look. Fair point, Alice. Let's have a look. Wacky whack. My mistake mixing them up. Let's see if there's anything that's come through yet. I still ain't got no emails yet. Let me go back to that one. I'm going to reload that and see what happens. If not, I might have to. Well, tomorrow night's going to be a bit busy, so it'd be interesting to have that discussion. Let me have a look. Have a chat with Andy Graham. Andy who? Well, I had a chat with Andy. I can't make it work. It says it's invalid. You can't make what work? Right, hang on a minute. What I don't want to do is, let's see. What's this one coming up? Yeah, that'd be me. Nice to speak to you. What was this one? And I can't all the time something. So many of the red flags you pointed out. Ironically, I was meant to be on the daily agenda this week with Peter with Peter Lynch tapes thing breaking. So got binned. I wouldn't have minded, but there was no bloody tapes. We'll check the ECP out. Okay. Let's have a look. Let's have a look and see if there's anything. That's a proton mail. Let's see. Right. I will have to. I can't even email you. Has anyone got put the ECP email address in there? Someone else type it out in case I've made a mistake, or copy and paste it out there to Jason. What I don't want to do is I don't want to go on too long tonight because I'm going to be looking at some other stuff. Voices on my video in my head, laugh out loud. Don't start all that. It's a kick. Don't start all that. I'll be in the room with you and all that, right? Let's have a quick look. Who's this one? Andy. Hello, who's out there? Andy the Gabby Cabby, good bloke. Yeah, no, he's all right. He was on last night. But this will take me a bit. I need to read and type between Google. Yeah, I'll trace his email address. Right, that's all you got to put out there. Let me see if I can go and find out what you're talking about. Because that'd be an important case. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go and check it on here. And that'll give me a link to it. Because that is important. Right to keep and bear arms is exceptionally important to the English. I have a link to the right to keep and bear arms case in USA today. Reference 9 nil. How's your dad, Graham? He's fine. I spoke to him the other day. His voice has gone a really high pitch for some reason. He's not well, obviously. Oh, what the why has that gone off? Let's see if I can find it. Not that one. I'm trying to find this again. New question. What case did the Supreme Court decide today? 9-0. Right to keep and bear arms. Let me have a look. In pub regular, do you worry too much about the English-born people have been infected with cultural Marxist mind virus? I do worry sometimes it's too far gone. Yeah, I do worry about that. I do think the Marxism has got into people's minds, but if it got into their minds, there is a way of reversing that, and we just got to do it. Opinion. Neil Gorash, Justice Full Court, holding a federal. It was that today? Decided today. You're absolutely right. Let me see if I can bring that up. The opinion author, Justice blah blah blah, holding the federal prosecution of Ali Khamenei, a marijuana user under 18 USC blah blah blah, which bans guns possession by unlawful users of controlled substances, violated the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms on or right to. The law as applied here is inconsistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearms regulation. The court narrowed but did not fully strike down the long-standing 1968 federal ban on gun ownership by certain drug users, addicts. It distinguishes between casual recreational users like Khamenei and those whose substance use possesses a clear danger, requiring the government's justified restrictions with relevant historical analogues under the Bruin framework. Right, Texas resident, dual US Pakistani citizen. Fuck, mate, it would be, wouldn't it? Admitted to regular marijuana use. He was charged with illegal gun possession after authorities found firearms in his home. Lower courts, including the Fifth Circuit, sided with him. The Supreme Court affirmed that ruling. This builds on post-Bruin 22 Second Amendment cases, emphasising that modern gun restrictions must align with historical traditions. Is that what you wanted to bring up? It's an important case. Let me see if I can bring it up from the Supreme Court itself. June 20, President Khamenei. Let's see if I can bring that one up. Hunter. That's the actual judgment. Yeah, I'll bring the actual judgment up on the screen. Alice, did you have the words? But thank you, because that is. We're going to have to bring out some other stuff over here as well. There it is. So the judgment's on the screen. And that's the October term 2024 Supreme Court United States syllabus. And it's Khamenei, Territorial to the United States. Territorial means they want a declaration. Argued March 2nd, 2026, decided June 18th, 2026. Al Khamenei is a dual citizen of the United States and Pakistan, who was born in Texas. He has spent most of his life living in the Dallas area with his parents and working a stable job. Suspecting Mr. Khamenei and his family members of terrorism-related activities, the government conducted a search of the family home in 2022. Throughout the process, Mr. Homey proved cooperative. He surrendered a gun he kept in the house, pointed agents to some marijuana on the property, and consented to an interview during which he was told law enforcement agents that he used marijuana about every other day. More than 6 months after the search, and relying solely on Mr. Hellamy's admitted use of marijuana, the government prosecuted men under Section 18. So what they did was, they was actually saying, because he was illegally using drugs, therefore he was unlawfully in possession of a firearm. That's what they're trying to say. Unsuccessful appeal court case held. The government's prosecution of Mr. Helmy under 922 blah blah of the unlawful user provision is inconsistent with the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment protects the right of all Americans to keep and bear firearms for self-defense. District of Columbia versus Heller, which is the one I've spoken about many times, though like most individual rights, it has its limits, right? Well, you have to be responsible. To determine when the government infringes the Second Amendment, the court begins by asking whether the amendment's terms cover the conduct in question. If so, the Constitution presumptively protects it. New York State Rifle and Pistol Association Brewing, right? To overcome that presumption, there's quite a bit here, so I don't want to go through it all, but I mean loads of it. Maybe I could do a show on that. It would be, but that is a 9 to 11 is serious. I mean, that basically is the whole of the Supreme Court backing up the Second Amendment, and that makes it a big problem for the people that are trying to stop all the guns. I'm sorry if this is making you feel sick. I'm trying to get to the last bit. Concurring judgment. What they're saying is marijuana use is Daniel Justice Alito, with whom Justice Kagan joins concurrently concurring in the judgment. I agree with the court that the historical analogues that the government cites are not relevantly similar to as applied to a respondent New York State Rifle and Pistol. I think someone's give these people a kick up the behind, you know. I said, if you ain't going to start, if you're not going to enforce the Constitution, there's no point in having you in there as a Supreme Court judge. Let me have a quick look. Let me have a look and see what's in there. I have to go back off my other thing now. Let's have a look here. The right to form militia too, or did I drain that one? No, you can form a militia. All of the laws in America come from England. It's the British that has destroyed it all, which is what I teach at the seminars. The right to form militia. I've texted you Jason's email on your WhatsApp. Have you? Let's have a quick look. Right, let me see if I can push this one out. There probably was a better way of doing this, but you know what I'm like. I'm a tart doing this on live. Maybe we should let's see if I can push this on there. We're not going to be staying live for a long time, but I do want to have a conversation about this. So, copy link. So, Jason, if you're watching, and let me push that out there. I've just sent you the link. Whether or not you can get in as easy as Andy did. Thank you to my wonderful assistant. Thank you very much. So I've just sent that out. Thank you. Let me have a look. Can we arms in the form of a tank? Can we arms in the form of a tank? It's funny you should say that, because after the Second World War, that's exactly we was buying armaments from the government. So when they took armaments off the Germans off the field, I mean, I'm talking about live firing artillery, right? And people was buying it and putting it in their gardens and putting it in their fields, and it helped fund the war. So yeah, we could do it. We was allowed to do it. It's got to be quite responsible though. I mean, you can go and buy a tank now if you wanted to. You can go and buy a tank. They'll just make sure you can't fire it. I used to live with someone who had a tank park in the front garden. Big gun going across. I used to think it was hilarious. I've driven a tank. Let me have a look. Mr. and Mrs. We're English, not British. Let's have a look. Why don't the British have a team in the World Cup? Answer: because they ain't a nation. Steve Lomas, absolutely correct. Just to let you know, Jason, I've sent you an email. So if you click on that link, you should be able to get in. Let me have a look and see how long this goes for. I've got to be a bit careful, because if I bring you in, this might shut it. It might shut down. If it shuts down, I'll bring you in again. I'll send you another one. Let me have a look. Daniels, Mr. and Mrs. English. We're English, not British. So don't have British. Spooky Bubba, talk you through the watch and ward. Can you talk through the watch and ward? Not tonight, but I can do. If you send me a list of things that you want me to talk about, watch and ward is absolutely, people need to understand what that is, because we can run our own security in our own neighbourhoods, including arrest. The drummer from New York. What's this? The drummer from New Order used to own a tank. It was in a music video by Electronic. Yeah. One of my neighbours used to own a tank. In fact, I know a few people. I know someone else who had a pig. Do you remember the pigs that used to drive around in Northern Ireland, where they had them little canister things that used to fire out from the side, and they had all slits around it? I know someone else had that. If you want to get in an argument with a bit of road rage with him, I've got to tell you. Yeah, it was the funniest thing. But you could go and buy them pretty cheap off the military. It was well maintained. I was shot at a few times, but it was well maintained. I'm waiting for it to arrive. The thing is, I used to say to my ex-wife, I'd love to buy that. I'll drop. She used to say to me, you ain't getting one of them. And I would drive around for that little flap up, be driving around. It had wheels and everything, it weren't on tracks. I used to think it was hilarious. That's a bit of me. Camouflage, all right. Pull up in a pub. The old Bill try to get in. You just lock the hatches down and sleep it off, and they can't even get in at you. Jet lag. Graham, you ever watch Lotus Eaters? No. The only person I watch really is Bo from Lotus Eaters. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, we'll have to give up with that one, Jason. I've just I've just sent you an email, and it says that your email is not an email. So that's the end of that one. We'll have to try and sort it out another day, because we're going to be shutting down the thing. But importantly, your email address has not worked. So whatever that email address was that I just put in, it's come up and said it's not recognised. Just to let you know. Let me have a look. Thank you for your support. There's another thing there. Mom drove a pig in the Troubles. Yeah, no, I like the look of them. I'll be honest with you. They look a bit like like the American Humvee, but like the Humvee, but more aggressive, and it actually looks like a pig, and it's got these things sticking out the side where they used to fire the gas out and all that. But yeah, I knew someone who had one. Let me have a quick look here. The English are truly free under the English Constitution and common law Jewish. They are. Right, people, I am going to call it a night. So I'm grateful to everyone who has tuned in. Jason, if you can resolve your email issue with either Tracy or Juicy and Lucy, and I get that, I will bring you into a show because I do want to talk about that. And in fact, I will bring up the other case as well, the her case, which it mentions. I think it's really important that people understand that we do have the full absolute right to keep and bear arms in this country. That's it. I am going to, Graham, watch Dino Bain. I've been interviewed on Dino Bain. If he wants to have me back, he can. I've been interviewed. Bo come on my show. And Reform kicked him out of the party. That's how much what Reform think of me. They kicked Bo out of the Reform Party because he came on my show. That's what I mean. We're censored. So Lotus Eaters wouldn't have me on their show at all, right? Carl Benjamin, in my opinion, is an absolute middle-class snob. He's not really a bit of me, and nor is Lotus Eaters in terms of the way they operate. I'm not saying Bowie's a bit normal, but the other ones, they're very middle class and very snobby. And I'll give you an example. Cole Benjamin today made a statement on Twitter that he thinks that the proliferation of betting shops around the country needs to be clamped down on, etc., etc. Right? I owned and operated a betting shop. Right? Who is he to tell the working class what they can and cannot do with their money? Right? It's a bit like saying we're going to ban alcohol, or we're going to say that you can't blaspheme, or you can't this, or you can't that. Right? For someone who professes to be about freedom, for him to come out with that crack. And let me tell you something, right? The business that we run pissed all over his media business for £1 note. Trust me, right? And we was the best of the best of what we did in our area. Trust me. They were local community hubs where people come in. It was we didn't have computers. We'd done it all the old-fashioned way, right? They were the busiest shops anywhere in the country. Trust me, right? And even a judge because one of our punters, he won a lot of money, right? And we always pay out in cash, and he won on the machines £11,000, right? So we've paid him out in cash. The next day, he jumps on a coach and he goes to Ascot. He gets nicked. The coach driver sees him doing Charlie on the coach, right, which is nothing to do with us, right? He's doing Charlie on the coach. The old bill then nick him for being in possession of cocaine, like the driver's told the old bill. The old bill have come on, nicked him for cocaine, found 11 grand on him in cash because he's gone there to go on the lash and literally have a day at the horses, right? So they nicked him for being a drug dealer. He then come back to us and said, listen, they're saying that the money and the drugs I had is because I'm a drug dealer. That's not it. I've just had it off in a bookies. I've bought a bit of gear and I've gone to think that's all I'm guilty of, right? This is straight up truth, right? So my business partner made a statement to that effect, showed him the thing, showed the court the camera, right? Because our our bookies were cambered up like you've never seen, and I was in charge of security, right? Our cameras was fucking everywhere, apart from in the toilets. We let you get away with that one, right? And crucially, you had to ask for the key to go to the toilet, though, unless we absolutely knew you, right? But and there was a reason for that as well, right? So we wrote this statement out, took all the evidence, shown everything. Judges come in, and then so the judges said, this seems an awful lot of money. So we said, listen, we're not going to discuss our accounts in an open court and show you our bank receipts. But the judge said this evidence relates to £11,000 in cash as well. So I need to be satisfied that this can. We've said, right, we'll do that, but we don't want it as public record, right? For obvious reasons. It's a security risk, right? Then we showed the judge how much we was banking in cash a week and how much the turnover from the machines and over the counter business, normal bookie stuff, dogs, races and all that, right? Let me tell you something now. His face when he went through, and then he looked through the documents and the bank receipts, went, I'm in the wrong job. And he went, is this in a week? And my business partner went, yes, Your Honour. He went, right. And then he basically said to the jury, right, I've seen evidence. We can't, for other reasons, we're not showing you it because it's a security risk to the business, right? And we don't want to put it on record. But I am happy I've seen this information, and that £11,000 came from that business, and that was a normal way they did business. They paid out in cash. We had people, a geezer won just under £100,000, right? In the office, did he go? Carry bags full of money. He was like, right. But this is why you do it. It's a simple business reason, right? If you pay out in cash, they'll start gambling because they want to have it off again. So they hit you again, right? And before you know it, their carrier bag's gone from that to that, right? And they give it back to you. If you pay them out on a card or check, they bank it. Mrs. Janet sees the account and says, I'll have a new kitchen. You don't want that happening. Or I'll have an extension on my house. You don't want that happening, right? You want to give the money back because it's a business, right? And gambling is a business, all right? But what I'm trying to say, the reason this conversation has come about is because what Cole Benjamin, the snobby middle class beep, has put out there. He won't have me anywhere near his show, right? And the only reason he was getting, I've gone off on one now, Cole Benjamin, right? He's a snob, right? He's now got a doctorate. So, and he wanted this doctorate, and he really wanted to speak at Oxford. Why? What is the matter with y'all? Right? I just don't get it with them people, and I'm worried about them. And they're just promoting the bullshit. I think we're all idiots. I sent you a reply to the dice of Keck. They Mr. Sagan. Snub me. Let me listen. They're not what they say they are. They're not for the working class. They are middle class snobs. That's all they are. I mean proper middle class snobs. Laugh at it. Well, that's definitely no. Let me have a look. Right, I am off. Good night. God bless. Don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. I believe in absolute freedom of speech, all right? But with rights comes responsibility. and it's one of the reasons why gun rights, because people, I'd rather have a gun. You know, they will double think about things because they would never want to lose their right to have a firearm. And you certainly, if you misuse it, don't want to be judged by 12 because if you got it wrong and the 12 get it right, you're going to be at the end of a rope. That's it. Good night. God bless to everyone, and I will see you tomorrow evening. Jason, I'll definitely have you on. Sort out your emails. We'll have to sort out something, how we can do this. I don't know how we can do it. So then I can just ping out the thing to everyone. But you'll definitely be back on, and I am going to read. And Jason, I'm really grateful because I didn't know about that case. I've been doing all sorts of other things, but 9-0 is massive. That you cannot argue against that in any federal court or any court in the country in the United States of America now. Right, 9-0 is a massive bang. Right, Ray Edmonds. Good night. God bless.